Ask Reddit. What did you buy as an adult because you were denied it as a child? Albuterol. My mom said I was faking my asthma attacks. I don't talk to her anymore. I wasn't denied it as a child, but we never had a recliner growing up, and I always thought of them as status symbol or a sign of making it or being an adult. So when I made it, I got a recliner. Now I'm a successful, functioning, reclining adult. I grew up with two brothers and a sister. Every time we would go to McDonald's, my parents would get us two small fries and makes us share. And no, two small fries didn't go very far between four kids, especially when I got to age 10 or so. So now when I go to McDonald's, which is admittedly not often now that I'm in my 40s, I get a large fries. I used to get supersize back when they had it. And woe to anybody, be they family or significant other, that dares reach for my fries. I spent my childhood fighting over fries, and that is a red line. You reach for my fries at your own risk. Hobbies for my kids are the ones they truly want. When I was younger, I wanted to play sports and learn guitar, but I was always told no. I also wanted to learn to play any instrument, but that was denied. I dreamed of playing hockey too, but I wasn't allowed. It wasn't because of money. I was instead put into other activities that I never asked for or wanted. So, when my child asked for cello lessons at the age of 7, they got cello lessons. When my youngest said they wanted to give up soccer for ballet, we swapped soccer for ballet. My only rule is that they have to finish the season. They're not allowed to join a team or group and quit halfway through without a good reason. They must complete the season before deciding to quit. For me, it is the opposite. My parents bought me and my brother nice things, but then fought constantly about money and oftentimes tried to make me and my brother feel ashamed for not showing enough appreciation for it. All I wanted was a functional, safe, and happy home. So, as an adult, I strive for minimalism and frugality. I take great delight in being frugal and living as basic as possible. I wear plain clothes, drive a plain car, and do not use credit for anything because screw keeping up with the Joneses and screw my parents' warped priorities.
An American Girl doll. I had a childhood friend who took a trip to NYC and surprised me with an American Girl doll. It was a just like you doll, and I loved her so much. I didn't come from a great home life. Being raised by a single parent, we faced financial struggles. One day, my mom went behind my back and sold the doll. I was heartbroken, but my mom argued that we needed the money. Now, at 27, I've just purchased my first American Girl doll. It was secondhand, bought through eBay, but I have no regrets. Uncoordinated furniture, non-matching dishes, thrift store clothes, varying colored shoes, garage sale items, dark-colored clothes, silver jewelry, etc. My mom was obsessed with everything being new, perfect, matching, and girl colors. Oh, and all jewelry had to be gold. Now that I'm an adult, I can have whatever I want and never wear pink ever again, and it's glorious. She despises that all my furniture was bought via thrift or marketplace, that I don't have a matching dish set, bedding set, or living room set. I see zero point in spending money on brand new things, especially with kids around. I had to walk on eggshells growing up for fear I'd break something or spill something. My kids don't get yelled at for breaking a plate or spilling a glass of Kool-Aid, because they're human and mistakes happen. I also don't lose my mind because I didn't spend an entire paycheck on the matching dishes. It sounds silly, but it's just nice to actually live in my house and not just be a guest in it.
A whole pork roast. As kids, if Mom made the roast, we'd get a ridiculously thin slice of pork. With my first paycheck, I bought a 2.5 kilogram hunk of pork, roasted it, and did my best impression of one man eating 2.5 kilograms of meat. I didn't get far before I couldn't eat anymore, but at least I stopped when I was ready. A Build-A-Bear. I had always wanted one growing up, but was always told no because it was too expensive. I finally decided to go for it and went through the whole process of making one, filling it with love and wishes. You know, the whole magical experience they create for the kiddos. I haven't slept with a stuffed animal since I was little, but now I hold on to my little bear throughout the night and wake up still cuddling it. Whenever I feel sad or homesick, I just hug it, and it honestly helps. It may seem silly to others, but sometimes your inner child just needs something to feel safe and comforted when life gets overwhelming, and that's okay. Don't let anyone take away what brings you joy.
Not for me, but for my wife. Before we married, she mentioned to me as we were talking about a certain type of Barbie doll she had always wanted when she was very young, but her family was really poor, and she never got it. During the Christmas that we were together for 2 years, and would be getting engaged the next year. And her age of 31 years old, I searched and searched the internet for that damn doll. After much searching, I found it and bought it. I think I paid a couple $100 for the still in the unopened box Barbie. I gave it to her that Christmas. She was over the moon. She still has it unopened and tucked away in our bedroom closet. I am kind of disappointed she never opened it and at least kind of played with it.
A chemistry set. When I was a kid, I begged my parents for one every birthday and Christmas. I wasn't dreaming of blowing things up or creating some mad scientist concoction. I just wanted to mix potions like in the movies and pretend I was discovering something groundbreaking. But my parents were always firm. Too dangerous, they said. We don't need you burning down the house. Fast forward to adulthood, and one day I came across an advanced chemistry kit online. The kind that comes with all the beakers, pipettes, and enough compounds to make me feel like Walter White in a much less illegal way. I didn't even hesitate. I bought it, and when it arrived, I spent hours setting it up, carefully labeling everything like I was preparing for a TED Talk. At first, I was just playing around, making colorful reactions and watching things fizz, but then curiosity got the better of me. I started reading up on actual experiments, and before I knew it, I was testing food for acidity, making invisible ink, and even trying my hand at simple crystallization. Now I have a small corner of my house dedicated to my experiments. My inner child is thrilled, and surprisingly, my adult self has learned a ton. My parents still think I'm a little crazy, but at least the house hasn't burned down yet. When I was a kid, the arcade was my happy place. The flashing lights, the sound of coins dropping, the thrill of just one more game. It was magical. But my parents weren't fans. They thought arcades were a waste of money, so my time there was always limited. If I ran out of quarters, that was it. Fast forward to last year, I'm browsing online and stumble across a restored Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade cabinet. My heart skipped a beat. It was absurdly expensive, but something in me said, do it. So I did. When it finally arrived, I had it hauled into my living room like it was a sacred relic. The first time I turned it on and heard the startup music, I couldn't stop grinning. I played for hours, completely losing track of time, like I was 10 years old again. Now it sits proudly in the corner of my house. Every so often, friends come over and we button mash our way through the levels, laughing like we're back in the 90s. Sometimes I even catch myself reaching into my pocket for quarters out of sheer habit. It's ridiculous, impractical, and exactly what I needed. Growing up, I was absolutely obsessed with Star Wars. I must have watched the original trilogy 100 times on our old grainy VHS tapes. My friends and I would grab sticks from the yard and pretend they were lightsabers, reenacting battles and making the classic verm sounds ourselves. But what I really wanted, what I begged for, was a proper lightsaber toy. The ones that lit up and made the sound effects. My parents always said no. They weren't against Star Wars, but they just saw it as an unnecessary expense. Why would you need that? They'd say. You have your imagination. And sure, my imagination was great, but it wasn't the same. Fast forward to adulthood, I was scrolling through some forums one day when I saw a post about custom lightsaber replicas. These weren't just toys, they were works of art. Full metal hilts, bright LED blades, customizable sound effects, the kind of thing my younger self would have thought only Jedi Masters could own. I hesitated at first because, let's be real, they're not cheap, but then I thought, why not? I've waited long enough. So I placed an order for a replica of Luke's lightsaber from Return of the Jedi. When it arrived, it was everything I dreamed of. Holding it in my hands, hearing the iconic hum when I turned it on, I felt like I was 8 years old again. Now it sits on display in my home office, and every once in a while I'll pick it up, ignite the blade, and swing it around a bit when no one's watching. It's a reminder that it's okay to indulge in the things that made you happy as a kid. And honestly, it makes my office feel like a tiny corner of the galaxy far, far away. When I was a kid, I wanted a Nintendo 64 more than anything. All my friends had them, and I'd spend hours at their houses playing Super Mario, Street Fighter, or GoldenEye. But at home, it was a different story. My parents didn't see the point. They thought video games were a waste of time, and they'd rather I spend my free hours outside or reading books. I'd try to convince them it'll help with hand-eye coordination, or there are educational games too, but it never worked. Every birthday and Christmas, I'd hope one might magically appear, but it never did. I had to settle for borrowing time on my friends' systems and dreaming about the day I could have one of my own. That day finally came when I got my first real paycheck. I marched straight into a store and bought myself a console, the latest and greatest at the time. I remember hooking it up that night, hearing the startup sound and just sitting there, taking it all in. It wasn't just about the games, it was about finally owning something I'd dreamed about for so long. Now, gaming is a big part of my life. I've built a little collection of consoles and games, both old and new, and I even dabble in gaming with friends online. Every time I pick up a controller, it's a reminder that sometimes the best things in life are the ones you wait for. And yeah, I still love the classics. You'll find me playing Super Mario 64 on a Saturday morning like it's 1995 all over again.